Greetings. This is Brenda Thompson coming to you today from URE Dallas, and I am going over our Fast 5 training. Today's topic is the paragraph 1, what names to put at the top of the 1 to 4 family residential contract. As you'll see on the screen in front of you, this is the contract that was last revised by TREC on 4/28 of 2014. I am coming to you today in the month of April 2015, and so I will update this as we have updated contracts. The 1 to 4 family residential contract, this is for resale. It is promulgated by the Texas Real Estate Commission. Paragraph 1 of the contract. I hear a lot of questions about exactly what names to put here and how do you find out what name should go as the seller and the buyer. So I wanted to give you some quick tips on that, and that's why this is on our Fast 5 training and intended to be 5 minutes or less. For the seller names, and you see that I use Disney names here, but for the seller names, the simplest way to do this, whether you are representing a buyer and putting together an offer for your buyers, or whether you're going on a listing appointment and hoping to represent the sellers with a listing agreement, the simplest way to find the seller names are to look at the tax records. Here in Dallas, we can do that through Realist Tax, through our MLS, and you can see the names that are currently on the deed of the property. So if you look at tax records for the property and it shows Donald Duck and Daisy Duck as the owners of the property, that's what you should use. Yes, there is the possibility that it could have been foreclosed on recently or changed ownership recently, or there may have been a recent death or even divorce that could have changed that. But what is on tax records is most likely what is still showing at the county authorities for who owns the property and who owns the deed to the property. So that's the simplest way to use the names, and then of course you're getting the correct names too. So what happens if you show up and you are there for the listing appointment and you have Donald Duck and Daisy Duck listed as the sellers on the listing agreement, but you show up and there's a new wife. You didn't realize it, but Donald and Daisy maybe got divorced, and there's a new wife that now lives in the property. She is married to Donald Duck and she actually lives in the property. Well, that's where Texas community property rules come into play. And within Texas, again, if it's still showing Daisy on the deed without a divorce decree showing that the property was fully given to Donald Duck in the divorce, I would not take her name off. It is safest to have everyone's name on it, and or let your favorite title company review it, pull a quick title search so that they can help you through that process. You would not want to get to closing to find out that Daisy still owns part of the property, that it was not part of the divorce decree, that it went to Donald, and that she is claiming title to the property and wants proceeds, and the whole closing gets delayed because of this. So, you know, get it up front. I don't like to get in the middle of divorce decrees. I really would prefer not to be involved in that at all. But if you have questions about it, ask for documentation, ask for the appropriate paperwork before you start just blindly removing someone's name as seller, as long as it is showing as the property owner's names in the tax records. On the same token, it could be that Donald purchased that property when he was single. He purchased the property by himself and only his name shows up on the tax records. But you get to the property and you find out that he married Daisy 6 months ago. They've been living in the property together for that entire time. Then Daisy, because of Texas community property rights, does now own part of the property as well. If she is married to him and lives in it and it is their homestead, then it is partially her property as well. So then it would be safe to go ahead and put her name on everything as well. So on the listing agreement, on all contracts, on all amendments, on the seller's disclosure, on anything that needs to be signed. On a different note, if this is an estate, and it could be an estate, and there are 8 heirs, please keep in mind that each of those heirs would need to be listed on this as seller, unless they are using an administrator to execute the terms of the will, and there is a party that they can show you has legal right to be on this. Power of attorney is usually what is used in that case. So maybe all 8 of the heirs have signed a power of attorney to one of the siblings, or it could be a completely different third party who is simply hired to handle the transaction for them. Unless there is something like that that legally gives one person the right to be signing all the documents, you would need all 8 heirs listed as seller on the property and on all contracts and addenda and everything else. So keep that in mind. That's the easiest way. The tax records are definitely the easiest way to find out who the seller of the property is. Now, moving on to buyer. For buyer names, it is quite simplest to simply ask your buyers what names they would like to take legal title in, what are their legal names that they want the deed to be prepared in, and in what order would they like their names. Please don't make any assumptions that his name should be first and her name should be second. You could accidentally offend a wife by making that assumption. So it's very, very easy, very, very simple, and shows that you respect them if you simply ask, how would you legally like your name to be on the deed? What legal names do I need to use? And also, what order would you like to have your names listed? Very, very simple question that shows that you respect them as your buyers. So for today, that's all I want to cover. I just wanted to cover the names that go on the paragraph 1 of the contract. Thank you for listening. If you have suggestions for future Fast 5 training with Brenda, please let me know. I would love to hear your feedback and your suggestions. And thank you for listening today. Have a wonderful day.